Cool. So we're recording anyway, brother.
All right. Thanks for having me on, man.
No worries. It's great to see you again. I think you've got a slightly you've got more facial hair than last time.
Asher, I might have grown up a little bit since the last time we talked. Yeah. This is called like not having a lot of clients at the moment and generally not giving a fuck about my appearance for the next couple months because I'm on travels.
So yeah, tell me about that, man. I mean, obviously, you're in Costa Rica at the moment, and I've noticed you've been there kind of on and off a little bit. So what goes on down there, just for us in Australia, understanding what you do down there?
I led a workshop with Jeremy Goldberg, Long Distance Love Bombs, and Leela Dilla over New Year's. And Leela and I had led one, or she led one a couple months ago here that I was a part of. And so it was just this, how do you set 2020 up to be a powerful year week? How do you do it in a positive container? How do you do it with coaching? How do you drop some of your limiting story? How do you really step into not turning this into another January where you have some resolutions that are completely thrown out the window by the 15th?
Mm.
And for me, this place is heaven because there's amazing surf, which is like number one, two, and three. There's amazing food and amazing people. And it's just a great space to come and work and chill. And I had a really intense last year with the book coming out and have a really intense March through December of travel, teaching, workshops, book promotion, etc. So I thought, why don't I just take 8 weeks, chill, surf, write, create, and living in a house. I'm living in a house with an Australian. This has
Cool.
been absolutely fascinating. Multiple times a day, I'm like, I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say? Like, I know that English is relatively, what was that? She taught me the term today, like hafa. That means like half an hour or something. Is that correct?
Halfa, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, we'll go to Hoffa. And I was like, did you just say Jimmy Hoffa? Like the guy that ran the Teamsters Union in the 60s? Like, what are you talking about? But it's been this extraordinary experience because everybody's in the personal development space, coaching space, consciousness space. So our dinners are fascinating. Our conversations are incredible. We've done little mastermind meetings with each other. There's a lot of informal, like, hey, how can I help you? What are you working on? Oh, you have trouble with that? Let me help. It's just this extraordinary experience. And everybody's hilarious. So it is absurdly fun. So yeah, that's what brings me down
Okay, man. That's. I mean, it sounds great. I've never been, but I've always, wanted to go.
here. Oh, dude, gorgeous.
But you're coming to Australia later in the year, aren't you?
I am coming for the entire month of October. Yeah, it was. You kept asking me when on our calls, like, when are you getting down here? Who's Amber Hawken, who the woman who's here now, is like, when are you going to come? Mike Campbell, a bunch of people. And so I asked Jeremy. I was like, hey, do you want to go to Australia? This was the actual conversation. Hey, do you want to go to Australia? Yeah, that sounds fun. Do you want to go for all of October? Yeah, that sounds fun. Okay, end of conversation. And then I just took a pen and like marked out October, Australia, and now have speaking things, engagements popping up, some workshops. So yeah, I'm really excited to get down there. Despite it sounds like you guys are going through some shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll get to that because I guess one of the reasons that I reached out to you for this chat was because of your post, kind of sending some prayers and some love down our way, and it suddenly kind of I just suddenly thought, hey, I'm going to reach out to Traver and see if he wants to jump on a call. So I guess in a way, that situation is what's made this call happen.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are really struggling.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, me sitting here in Melbourne, it's easy to talk about my issues with, air quality and stuff like that. But, there's some people going through some real shit at the moment. And it's been an interesting start to the year, it's been really intense. In some of the men's circles we've had, it's just, there's a lot of intense energy around, and yeah, for me, I'm trying to look at it as, my world is burning externally, and what does that mean for me? Well, it's brought up, it's triggered a lot of shit inside me. It's like a lot of dark corners which I thought I'd kind of swept out pretty well, actually still have a lot of cobwebs in them, you know. And in some ways, I'm kind of seeing this symbolically. This fire is kind of a call to action, you know. It's kind of lit the fire inside me a little bit, and it's like, well, look what's going on around you, man. You got no fucking excuses not to step up and step into your truth and just, you know, act and be decisive and just, you know, what are you waiting for? You know, look what's going on.
Yeah, I just got chills from that, Asher. That's pretty goddamn profound. When I saw the map of Australia overlaid on top of the U.S. and how much of it was on fire, I couldn't comprehend it. And then had to take a breath. And again, living with an Australian who's deeply going through all of this. And remember back, I think it was 2 Christmases ago that Santa Barbara, my old hometown, started the year with fires and then recovered and then immediately got hit with massive mudslides because as soon as the rain came, it washed a whole town away. And a buddy of mine, I remember, this is mind-blowing story. I opened up Facebook. I was lying on a couch in Brooklyn, New York, opened up Facebook, and here is a video of one of my old gym members, a guy whose house I've been at dozens of times, who I'd, you know, celebrated with, competed with, partied with, eaten with, like he took me out to lunch in the middle of my divorce and was like, "You're going to be okay." And this man is literally covered in head to toe in mud, as if someone dunked him in mud. And his wife is standing there next to him. I got just riddled with chills, just staring up at him. And he's telling the story of how a series of boulders came and washed half of his house away. And so he's sitting in his house while this happens. And he says it starts to slow down and he sees what he thinks is a child. And he literally jumps into the mud and shit and grabs a toddler and pulls a toddler out who is alive and is sitting there in his living room like, what in the biblical fuck is going on? And that's how they started the year. And it feels like, and I don't want to go too off on a fluffy tangent, but you know what I wrote in that post, that like the canary in the coal mine is it's here. And we can keep doing shit the way we've been doing shit, and then the world's gonna keep burning, and at some point the world's gonna win. Like Mother Earth is like, you guys can do whatever you want. I'll just set this place on. I'll burn you all out.
Yeah, man. There's so much I could say. There's been so much going through my head and so much conversation which has been had. We've been sitting in circle and with friends and brothers and so forth. But yeah, it's yeah, and it's so symbolic of so much, you know, and particularly the fact that we're on fire. It's just it's amazing, you know. But yeah, it brings up a lot of shit, and you can either use that to fuel your growth, or you can kind of fall into grief. I mean, you can take it in lots of different directions, you know. But for me, and I want to use it. I want to use it. And I was saying to Nathan on the a brother of ours on the last interview we did on this forum, on this platform, that what I find fascinating is the word focus, which is the word I'm kind of using around this whole scenario, is actually a Roman word which means domestic hearth or sacred fire. And I'm thinking every time I see something around this stuff, which is constantly, I'm coming back to my mantra, the word focus, which actually means sacred fire, and it can, you know, pull me back into focus, call me back into presence.
Right. Do you feel that is it Awakening Australia?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I do believe so. Yeah, I mean, as with any of these great, I guess, tragedies you see globally, it does. The compassion and the love that you see suddenly becomes a lot more apparent. You know, I remember after 9/11 in the US, you know, the same thing happened. You know, like young boys who might previously be, you know, setting fire to frogs, they're like helping old ladies across the road with their shopping. You know, it's things change, and you kind of get called into what's important.
Yeah, the entire LIE expressway lined with people with shovels and buckets and like cheering the firefighters. And what do we do? And, you know, I hope that it lasts longer than the sentiment around 9/11 did here in the US.
Mm.
We have
Well,
forgotten what that was like, you know?
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But to me, it brings out all the extremes. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of anger as well,
Mm.
you know, towards the government
Australia.
and their
Yeah.
lack of action on climate change. And it brings everything out. But, you know, that's good. You know, I think the more you shine the light, the more volume of darkness you expose.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so yeah, you know, it's just
What's coming up for the men in your circles? What's the most prevalent thing you're having to navigate with them?
there's a lot of stuff. I think there's a sense of overwhelm with some people. You know, particularly the people, and I can speak for myself on this. You know, with young children, because it's like, what does it mean for the future of our kids? You know, I mean,
Yeah,
there's a very intense moment. And I'll try and say this without tearing up, but when
you're
you
welcome to.
are when you look around at your child and you see him wearing a P2 mask,
Mm,
you know, and you're trying to get him to the car, you know, as quickly as possible so he doesn't have to spend too much time, you know, exposed to the hazardous air. And this little kid, and he's wearing a mask, and you're like, what the fuck is going on in this world, you know? And then you see all these
yeah,
pictures of what's going on much closer to the fires, and you know, it puts your situation into perspective. Um, I just can't even imagine what it's like being there, and it's just extraordinary. Like, is this what the future looks like?
I'm an optimist and also a realist of, yeah, we need to make change. And I think on the level that we work with people, on the level that we talk with people, on the level that we interact with men, this is such an opportunity for everybody to just do a little bit better. And for
Yeah, I
men as
agree,
they're
man.
rising, you know, to say, okay, this isn't about banning straws in San Francisco. This is about, okay, what do I need to work? How do I become a better, more of my brother's keeper? How do we as a community, how do you and as Australia come together after this as opposed to divide, point the fingers, blame, it's their fault, fuck them, and be even worse off than you were beforehand? I think that is the absolute gem of the opportunity of leadership in situations like this.
Mm,
Okay,
yeah.
men will rise. Men will rise and either be divisive or men will rise and be unifiers in Australia. And that's the opportunity, whether that's locally, whether that's in your family, or whether that is governmentally and activism wise. But it's going to have to start here of the decision that I will not play the fucking division game. I will not buy into that. I will not point fingers. Say what happened, happened. Now, how do we move forward, you know, with the grace of God? Uh, that, I think, is your opportunity. And the suffering, the pain, the images, the masks on children better just be the fuel to I was going to say to light that fire, but it's a little cliche.
No, but that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, you know, light
Yeah,
that raging fire inside you, you know, at your heart level, you know, and you're
yeah,
right. Use it as a unifier, not as divisive and anger. Like, you're exactly right. Like, the time is now. Like, when if there wasn't a time, when is it? It's fucking now. You know what I mean?
yeah. Your whole country is on fire.
Yeah. What,
Now's
what
your
else do you want? What else do you want? Like,
yeah. What else can it take? I'd love for guys to hear the idea and understand and kind of take in the idea of sacred rage.
mm,
Of it's not rage outward. It's like, okay, what the fuck what do we need to do? How do we bind together? How do we create community and camaraderie and brotherhood around this particular issue? How do we take the rage that makes us want to go them, and start punching and go, okay, come together, come together, come together. No
love
one's
that,
going to do
man.
it but you guys, right? No one. And we go back to how great movements get started. It was people that were like, enough. Okay, we'll do it. What are we going to do? We're going to have a meeting once a week in some guy's house. Okay, we've all outgrown the house. What are we going to do now? We need to have a meeting once a week in a business. Okay, we outgrew the business. What do we do? Now we go to a church. What do we do now? Oh my God, now it's a thing. That's the spark that I think is just like purely there in Australia. And if I haven't said it, so please let me back all the way up to the beginning and say, I am so sorry for the suffering that's happening. Man to man, country to country, as not someone that is from your place, but just human to human. You guys are not alone, and it's for whatever it is worth. I know I wrote a post about praying and even thought, like, do I even write this damn post about praying? Because do they need prayers? No, they need water. But collectively, I still think that on the outside, you guys are not forgotten about. You're not alone. You're not doing this alone. Amber's doing a fundraiser from here. I was like, we're contributing. Anything we can do to help is happening. If that just lightens someone's heart to go, okay, cool. There's 5 people in Costa Rica who know what the fuck's happening here and aren't just surfing and having a good time, but saying, okay, how do we contribute to this as well? Please know that.
No, thanks, man. Like, I mean, you know, we all appreciate that, but it's the outpouring of love from other countries and other people in other countries has been amazing just in my world. So it's extraordinarily strengthening, you know, to hear that. So you know, thank you. I want to go back to that rage you were talking about, because I'm reminded of James Hillman, and he talks about don't think about outrage in these situations, think about enrage. And I really like that idea.
Yeah,
it's like it's the rage inside which you then, you know, how is that going to, you know, use that to actually, you know, penetrate the world in a positive way.
The rage that comes from the idea enough's enough.
100%.
We've had enough. Again, I've had enough. And if no one's going to change it on the big bureaucratic red tape level, what can we do in the neighborhood? What can we do right here in the community? How shit used to get done.
100%, man. And it starts with your own actions. You know, there was a man in the men's circle just on Tuesday night. He's like, you know, I took public transport here instead of driving my car. Like, and I'm like, beautiful. Like, let's start there.
You're in the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of being in the fight. Yeah, it doesn't have to be until I can hit home runs, I don't step up to bat. Right?
That's right.
Like, championships are still won on bunts and singles sometimes.
Well, yeah, absolutely, man. And I was interested in what you were saying about, you know, you start in the house and then you move to the business, then you move to the church. But, you know, in a sense, that's kind of what you're doing at Man Uncivilized. I mean, you've got this goal of reaching 1 million men, you know. Starts from a couple of dudes, probably you and one dude sitting in a house somewhere, and it goes to there. And with that in mind, I thought in a minute or two, can you maybe explain to the guys kind of what Man Uncivilized is and how they can maybe even get involved, or
Sure.
just back right up, I guess.
Yeah. You know, Asher, when I looked at I felt the sacred rage 2 years ago when Me Too was going on in New York. I was so angry, 1, at the behavior of men, and 2, at the media for just portraying men as monsters and or portraying us as broken, or it was so negative. And I understood that there needed to be a calling out of bad behavior. But what I never saw was comma, and here's what you do about it. I never saw, this is what a great man is. This is what a balanced man is. This is what an integrated man is. This is what an actualized man was. It was just, this is what a bad man is. And so I took that sacred rage. I remember being like actually furious. I was like, well, why isn't there a third option? What is a good man? What is really great about traditional masculinity? Right? Like, wait a minute, we're not getting rid of leadership. We're not getting rid of protection. We're not getting rid of, and I know that your country has a whole ton of female firefighters, but we're not getting rid of the traits that make men go, fire? I'll go fight that. I'll go die for that. Someone's breaking into my house. I'll go protect everybody. That stuff about the primal part of masculinity. I wanted to capture that, but then looked at the world and went, holy shit, are we missing the consciousness element? Are we missing the divine, whatever that means to you? Are we missing the wound healing? Are we missing men actually being able to verbalize this sentence? I'm hurt, I'm in pain. And I thought, what if I gave men an option that was in between this 1950s Marlboro stoic primal dude, and then this also the flip side, the sensitive new age. And I know I make fun of vegan poets, but my best friend's a vegan poet, so I'm allowed to say this. Like the vegan poet guy, the yogi. Like what do we put them both together? And we told the vegan poet, oh, you get to be primal. We told the Marlboro man, you get to feel. And so that to me came in the term the uncivilized man, because I looked at what civilization was doing to us. It was killing us. We were suicidal, drunk, addicted, violent, sexually acting out, depressed, like all the things that we deal with in men daily. That was to me the outcome of follow the civilized track. That's where you pick one of your poisons here. So I said, what if we went the opposite way? What if men stopped apologizing for being men and became unapologetically male? What if brothers started looking after each other as opposed to competing with each other? What if we actually looked and said, the things that hurt me are my greatest opportunities for growth and gifts to the world? What if I start having some reverence for this human experience and be like, oh my God, every day's a damn miracle. Holy shit. Let me use some curse words around that so guys can actually like buy into that, as opposed to like every day's a miracle. Like every day's a fucking miracle. You get that? Like this is nuts that you're here. Nuts. And so I took all of this and put it out into the world on a whim, and Asher, life changed pretty quickly. Guys flocked to it because I think it gave them permission to still be men, and yet gave them a pathway into a higher, more integrated version of being a man. And so how do you become a part of it? I have a book called Man Uncivilized, the book. I have an Uncivilized Nation, which is very similar to yours, which is a membership group. I'm coming down to teach and do workshops. I'm on Instagram. Like, follow me. I'm at Traver Boehm. There's conversation happening all around this all the time. I seem to be inviting great men together, saying like, hey, I want to talk about this. And it's a movement. Like, I really wanted to start a movement where guys they're reaching out and saying, I bought your book. 5 of my friends get together once every 2 weeks. We read a chapter and we talk about it. And I was like, okay, keep doing that. And then more guys kept doing that, and more guys kept doing that. And my mission is that at some point it gets way bigger than me. And I go, I can't do this. I've hired a team of people to help facilitate all of this. And it is literally a worldwide idea that there's uncivilized men's groups all over the world. And if a guy doesn't want to go to a group, he at least understands I have an option here, whether I choose to take it or not. That's it in a nutshell. I think I just vomited all over your audience.
Oh no, man! I think it's beautiful. I know that's going to resonate, really deeply. And what I like particularly about you and where you come from is, you just call it as it is. And I think men want to hear about it that way. Like, I think a lot of people, particularly the divine masculinity part, it's been a bit fluffy, and it's like, that doesn't really sound like me. But actually, it is you, brother. Maybe you just need to hear it in a slightly different language, and you're out there sort of putting it in those terms.
I talk about, thank you. Like, I'm like, hey, I used to fight in a cage professionally. This is, I'm looking at consciousness from a cage fighter's perspective. Let's talk about it that way, as opposed to it being such a mystical thing that the average guy can't grab it, where it's presented at the black belt level, when it really needs to be presented at the white and blue belt level. So it's like, I read David Deda's book, Way as a Superior Man, a decade ago, and was like, this is nonsense. I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. This guy's a fruitcake. And have subsequently read the book, probably 98 times, and every time be like, this is genius. This is literally the Bible. Every time I read it, I get some new nugget. but I wanted to be the bridge between the man I was a decade ago and that higher level work. And so that's how I feel the uncivilized movement captures the masses, right? Like, guys still need to be fucking guys. We still want to watch sports. We still want to talk about having great sex lives. Guys still want to make money. They still want to look good naked. And, oh, we actually do want to feel. It's scary as shit to feel. Like, I'll be honest. Feelings aren't my best friends, or they weren't for a long time. And intimate conversations, relational conversations, they're hard. If it was like, go do 100 push-ups, go have a really hard, intimate conversation and be like, this one sounds like a lot of fun. This one sounds terrifying. And yet I think for most men, we know that that's actually the medicine that we need. We just need to have someone who we respect walk us over there and say, not only is everything going to be all right, you're going to be even better when you get through this. You're not afraid of doing hard things. Grab this.
Beautifully put, man. I think that's exactly right. You know, and I was as you were speaking before, I was thinking about, you talked about the 1950s man, you know, and I think when you look at the trajectory of masculinity from that time, you know, obviously we went from there into the 60s where the pendulum kind of swung way too far in the other way. You know, we grew our hair long, we put flowers in our hair, we started wearing, you know, like, you know, loose white clothing, and kind of became like women, and talked about love in a very kind of non-masculine way. And I think that, you know, since that time, you could probably track it through the decades since then, but you know, now's the time where we find that perfect balance, that integration of the primal and the divine. And I think what you're bringing, you know, is exactly that.
Thank you. It's the melding of ferocity and tenderness. And I think the challenge with the 60s, the challenge with the 70s was that they got rid of the ferocity and they shamed the ferocity. And then the ferocity came screaming back as a shadow. Mm. And guys are like, no, we're gonna look at violent porn. We're gonna be sexual abusers. We're gonna fight in gangs. We're gonna start wars. As opposed to saying to the ferocity, you have a home right here in my heart. I'm gonna love with fucking ferocity. I'm gonna protect my family with ferocity. I'm gonna live with ferocity. And as you're a father, I need to have tenderness. I'm a husband, a lover, a brother. I need to have, even with men, I need to be able to be tender. And so with your whole country, I don't want to go down. I wouldn't want to, if I got to Australia, it wouldn't be like a raw, fuck yeah, you guys can do it. It'd be like, oh my God, if I could take your entire country and put its head on my chest and just say, cry it out. Like, you guys are going through some shit. Like, that type of tenderness, I think men have in us. We have the ferocity, we have the tenderness. Let's just unlock both so that situationally dependent, right? I imagine your groups, there's got to be so much grieving.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if not your group, the group's closer to the fires. There's just so much collective grieving that needs to happen.
Yep, no, absolutely. But there can be strength born from that. And I like what you're saying, because I find a lot of guys, and I know it in myself, you either go too far in one direction or the other. You know, you can become this very sort of tender person, but there's no action behind the love. I mean, the love, the strength and the penetrativeness has got to come from that loving place. It can't just be love for love's sake, you know. You got to actually, it's got to be love in action, I guess is what I'm saying. As opposed
specifically to men, for sure, right?
Yeah, exactly. And or, you know, again, the ferocity, if it's not coming from a place of love, then obviously we've seen how that plays out. But, you know, for me, it's like it's a simple analogy with my son. It's like if I'm playing with him in the park, you know, there's a loving father-son relationship going on there, and it's just beautiful, and everything's fabulous. But, you know, if someone tried to snatch him, then, you know, all of a sudden I'm capable of murder.
Yeah.
And I need to accept that part of myself and embrace it.
Celebrate it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because it's in your DNA. Mm-hmm. We haven't, you know, socially, we've gotten away from murder. It's not okay. We don't just gonna be like, I don't like that person, I'll kill him. But the protective part of it, that's in your DNA. And I think when guys bypass that and move away from it and pretend it's not there, then it comes out through the shadow.
Yeah.
I think I've told you, I taught a lot of self-defense at all over the world. And one particular place was at an ashram. And I got a lot of flack at the ashram from a group of it was hippies and travelers. And it was this group of hippie women saying, if I embrace the fact that fear exists and that I can create violence, I'll disconnect myself from God. And I went, well, yeah. And if you get raped, you're going to have a whole new set of problems that keep you from God. So I convinced them to take the course. And at the end, it was that group in particular who came up and just said, oh my God, I forgot how good it feels to know my body can do cool shit, to know that I have strength, that I can take care of myself. I was like, yeah, do you feel disconnected from God in any way? They're like, no, I actually feel more human though. Like, oh, what do you know? Like, please leave a Yelp review. Like, let's,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It's and that's why this stuff is so powerful, what you do. And I'm hoping that when you come down to Australia, man, you'll be able to somehow like connect in with our group, whether it's, whether you're in Melbourne and you can come and
sure.
host something, or, come into the studio in St Kilda and do something down there. Whatever that looks like, man, we'd obviously love to have you on board.
I will be there.
Sweet.
This is, you were my first Australian connection. I will be. And is that a surfboard over your shoulder?
Oh, it's a stand-up paddleboard, yeah.
Okay, close enough. If there's surf in the area.
True. Well, I wouldn't exactly call it surf, but there's water.
We'll call it water. Yeah, man, I would love to. I cannot wait to get there. And I think especially now, given all that has happened, it is an opportunity for me to come plant seeds in men of, hey, what if you use this? What if you took pain and alchemized it? Doesn't mean you don't get to bypass it, but the 12th tenet of my ethos is fight hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, you got to fight hurt. You're hurt. You got it. You got beat up a little bit here. What are you going to do? You're going to lie down and accept defeat. You're going to get back up and start throwing some punches back. Okay, what does that look like? Okay, how do you do it together? How do you use this to mend differences? Oh, you guys didn't like each other before? Guess what? When the fucking fire started, you were in the same boat, weren't you? Okay, all right, cool. Let's remember that. Okay, you got some political differences? Oh, wow, what do you know? Fire doesn't give a shit who you voted for. Okay, how are you going to mend that? Marital issues, are they really important now who left the seat down? Okay, good. When the fire came, yeah, you guys remember that you love each other. Okay, cool. Let's work from here. I think I would love to get that message through, because as you said, if not now, what do you guys think, like an atomic bomb or something?
This is it, man. I'm always a big fan of saying, the universe will give you the lesson at the level you need it. And I'm like, check out the level we're at right now. Like, you want to pay attention now, or you want to wait for the next level?
Yes, seriously, right? It's like the people who you ignore the toe pain, ignore the toe pain, ignore the toe pain, blow your ACL out. Like,
100%.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you ignored the ACL. Okay, we'll give you testicular cancer. Okay. Oh, now you're eating greens and quitting smoking and doing the things, as you know.
No, I have a good friend who works in this space who says it's the feather, the brick, and the train.
Yes, I think you said that to me, actually.
Yeah. It's like getting these subtle messages all the time with, particularly guys. We don't tend to listen too much, and yeah, man, they just keep building in intensity until you get it.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating process, but I think collectively, as a collective consciousness, this is a collective rite of passage that we're going through right now. And we talk about a men's rite of passage all the time, but and you as an individual, needing to go through that initiation process from boy to man. Well,
yeah.
This is a collective version of that. We're all in this together, and the whole of humanity has to go through a rite of passage, and this is it.
I just got chills, man.
Yeah, man. Well, this is trial by fire right now, so I don't know what's next.
Asher, what do people need to hear in your community?
Around this particular topic or in general?
Yeah, around this particular topic,
Well,
around
again, I think
what
it
they're
goes.
going through.
Yeah, I think it's seeing it as that. If you think about it from a hero's journey point of view, this is without doubt the call to action, the call to adventure, and it's like again, it's pretty much everything that we've been talking about. It's like it's time. It's time to step up. It's time to understand what your purpose is and go do it. And part of that needs to be kind of healing the world in some way. Like, well, what are you bringing to the table in order to create positive change? And now is not the time to sit on your hands. I mean, look around. Like, now is the time for action.
Yeah,
And so don't wait, don't hesitate. You talked about you talked about that earlier, but for me, at a larger level, we're talking about how death, looking at death, calls you into presence ultimately.
yeah,
And partly when we look around us, we see that potential. People are talking about human extinction and all this stuff. What we're really talking about is our own death. And if there's no greater tool, no greater teacher than to call you into action, it's that. Death, like pain, is our greatest guru.
mm,
And so for me, it's like rather than look away, stare it in the face and see what you've got to learn, and use that to create decisive action in your own life. That's where I'm getting to. And I've been saying to the guys, and this has been the conversation, it's like, see what's happening out there. Look at those photos of burnt koalas and people and all the things, and don't look away. Don't look away. And know that the man you're with in the circle sitting next to you won't look away.
yeah,
And together you can see that king energy, if you like, in the other, in the sense that I know what's happening, brother. And when I look at you, I know that you know what's happening. And we will not look away. We will let the tears dry to our face. We will not wipe them away. And we will act.
fuck, that's power.
Mm. So that's kind of where I've been at, man. So for me, ever since, from the beginning of the year, there's just been this intensity
Yeah,
around what's going on. Like it feels like what's going on outside of me is going on inside of me. Like I'm burning up.
mm. How else can we support you here?
Well, man, your presence coming down later in the year is certainly going to be great, because I know that the language you speak is going to be particularly resonant for Aussie guys.
Yeah,
We've got this stereotype of which it plays to exactly what you're saying. Like, I think guys just want to hear it in guy language to a speak to a
yeah,
certain extent, and that's exactly what you bring to the table. And I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air. And I know, for example, the last time we spoke to our group, it was, we still talk about that, and those the ethos that you brought in terms of owning every room you walk into and all that other gold. And people still talk about it, man. So, what
yeah,
you're doing, it lands particularly well with us. I mean, I know for American men, it's probably similar, but Australian guys, we've always had that kind of hard edge to
yeah,
us.
yeah. I can't wait to get there. I
Mm.
truly cannot wait. I do pray for you and for your country, for your animals, for the land, for the indigenous people, and for the collective pain to go down. More so than the fires to go out, just the collective pain to go down. And then we'll be honored to come in and try to be a tiny little piece of whatever resurgence or rehabilitation I possibly can.
Well, I mean, thank you. And by the time you get here, yeah, who knows, man? But I'm hoping to see a phoenix kind of rise from the ashes here, and by the time you get here, man, I'm hoping that, you know, there's change in the air, and it's a pretty powerful, at least the beginnings anyway, at least the sort of green shoots of
Yeah.
something pretty spectacular, because that opportunity is there. I mean, it could go either way at this particular point, but
Right.
there's a huge opportunity, and I really hope that we as Australians, as Australian men, that we grasp that.
Mm. Grasp it, guys. Fucking grasp it. Yeah. That's Do it now.
100%, 100%, man. Maybe we should leave it there, brother. I'm just thinking in
Sure.
terms of uploading this thing
Perfect.
and stuff like that.
I love it. Thank you for having me on. Have me on again. I would love to keep talking to you guys anytime. I've got time here. I've got space, and I will see you in October.
Yeah, well, man, you know, between now and then, it'd be great. You know, I mean, even if we could literally try to make this a sort of consistent thing that we check in every once in a while, and
Have me
you know,
on.
just kind of share. And then by the time you get here, there's, you know, we've already built something.
Amazing. I would love it.
Hmm. And are you happy for the Aussie guys to kind of jump on your Uncivilized Nation and get involved? Because I know you throw out a lot of challenges, and it's good
I would
stuff.
love it.
I enjoy the dialogue there.
Yeah, I would love it. I want that portal to be the community place, so that guys now, I think I've only got like 25 guys in it. I want 1,000 guys in it all over the world saying, hey, this is what we're going through. And it's all conscious men. It's all men saying, brother, we got you. Brother, how can we help? Brother, you have a house, you have a home, you have support, you have resources beyond what's going on in your immediate area.
Hmm.
Anytime at the drop of a hat. So
And that's
yes, please.
Yeah,
I would
that's
love it.
awesome. And similarly to your guys, point them in the direction of our group on Facebook as well. You know, we've got a few American guys on there, but you know, the more the merrier globally. And I'm almost thinking down the track about some hands across the ocean event we can do with, you know, where you get a room full of guys, you know, I get
I
a
would
room full of
love
guys,
it.
and we kind of just meet that way. It'd be beautiful.
Yeah, it would be amazing. Amazing, amazing. All right, brother. I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, we'll
My
leave
heart's
it
with
there.
you guys.
Thanks again,
Cheers.
man, as always.
Love you, Ash. I'll chat with you soon.
Much love.